I'm 16-Bit Pete, and this is a new segment on my channel called Gaming Memories. Where I talk about the consoles and the games that I grew up with as a kid in the 90s. Although I didn't receive my first console till mid to late 90s, however, I did have a lot of gaming memories. Episode 1, the Super Nintendo. I had the Game Boy Pocket right on release date in July of 1996, or June, and I played it for about a year, and during that end of the year, the Nintendo 64 was released in September of 96. I was about 8 or 9 years old, and I wanted a home console at that point. I wanted to be able to play my Game Boy games on the TV at home and use the Game Boy after school, waiting for the bus, or at a friend's house with link cables, or on road trips. Because I went to Pennsylvania, New York City a lot as a kid, and so my mom finally came to her senses and allowed me to get a Game Boy Pocket, because those Tiger handhelds, battery life was bad, and the sounds at that point were just driving my parents insane. So I had gotten the Game Boy Pocket with Super Mario Land and Star Wars, and later on a bunch of other games, but a year passed in June of 97, and I had helped my dad with his business making a delivery, I believe it was upstate New York, and I think it was during that year, that school year too, leading to that summer, I had started maturing a bit as a 8 or 9 year old, and I think my parents could see that, mostly my dad, and how good I was behaving and all. I was playing my Game Boy Pocket the whole way up there. We made the delivery. Across the street there was a yard sale. Out of nowhere, we go to the yard sale, and I just see this box sitting there. It was opened, the styrofoam sticking out there, and 5 amazing games. And those games were Star Fox, Super Mario Kart, Super Game Boy, the reason why I wanted it so badly, Donkey Kong Country, and the one my dad loved, Ken Griffey Jr.'s Major League Baseball. Now, back then I didn't question why the guy was selling it with all those games for only $50. Because 95 you could get the Killer Instinct bundle brand new and it was still $150, and those games were still, I think, $40 to $50 a piece at that time, even with the 64 launch. But anyway, the guy wanted $50 for it. Now granted, this was a yard sale in the 90s, so people didn't like to spend a whole lot. I was looking at it. My dad saw the way I was looking at it. He saw how much I wanted it. He knew he had to get it for me. And my birthday was about a month and a half away, so I think it was a combined gift with that.
2,000 years later.
my kid voice was, "Can we get it for 30?" And the guy said, "How about for 25?" And my dad says, "Deal." And my dad pulls out his wallet and the guy says, "Just give me 20. Wow. So I got a Super Nintendo in the box with 2 controllers, 5 games, including Super Game Boy. So I'd be able to play my Game Boy games on the TV screen. It was just a miracle that it was there that day. And it launched. It got me my nickname, 16-Bit Pete. From Funkoland guys, because I was always buying the Sega Genesis and the Super Nintendo games when the 64 and the PlayStation and the Saturn were out. I just wanted those games, so they called me Pete 16, 16-Bit Pete, and it was just great. And I sat in the back seat and I just stared at the console and the games the whole ride home, and even my dad's famous speech that he made on the way home. He says, "Enjoy looking at it while it lasts, because when we get home, your mother is going to kill me."
Damn!
And sure enough, she was pretty pissed. But after a while, like when I was playing the Donkey Kong games and she fell in love with the soundtrack, she liked the music. She said it was very soothing, and it was, especially with the sound chip on the board. And I mostly played my Game Boy games on there. I played Donkey Kong. And then for my birthday, a month and a half later, I got Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy's Conquest, and a Super Famicom, an import version of Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island, which was the first game I've ever beaten in my life. And it holds a lot of nostalgic memory to me. And I love the game, even though it was in Japanese and we had to get a converter from a flea market in order for me to play it. But it was, you've heard of like gaming miracles and stuff that was just meant to be. This Super Nintendo was meant to be found by me that day. I never understood why it got it so cheap, though it was a yard sale, but all those games put together and this console in the box was probably equal the cost of the Super Nintendo during that time period, or if not more. But that was my first home console. This is Gaming Memories. I hope you all enjoyed this. This is my first episode. Stay tuned for my next episode. I think I got a pretty good idea what it's going to be about. This is 16-Bit Pete. Please like, favorite, and subscribe this video. Thank you.